I got a little ACER projector here. And the problem is the HDMI is actually falling inside. So I tried prying it out and that doesn't work, so I figured I was going to have to replace that jack. Which should have been fairly easy because there's a screw that's outside here. You can see this is a slotted track. So it would just be a matter of undoing a ribbon cable and sliding all of this out. Unfortunately, it's not that easy because all of this is bolted to here, which once you take those screws out there, it's also bolted to there. The heat sink's attached to it. So basically this whole daughter card is connected to all that. So even if you undo these here, it's still not going to separate. Because the only way to take these apart would be to remove these and then take each individual board off by sliding it that way. But the only way to slide that way would be as if you could move it forward to get past the jacks. Because they're all in line, there's no way to get it through, and you have to undo these connectors. So the connectors are going to have to slide apart. So there's no way to get to any of these things to replace them without taking the entire machine apart, which is pretty much not economically viable because this is a PCB board mounted jack, and there's no way to replace that thing. So because somebody jammed an HDMI cable in there, this machine is no longer serviceable with the HDMI. So it basically renders the machine a piece of junk as far as high def goes. So it's only going to be usable for VGA from this point on. But yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Because you'd think that they'd set this up just to be a little tiny bit more user serviceable, especially since they took the time to do screwed standoffs. I mean, they could have just put all these on one board, mounted it that way, and called it a day. But to have it on individual boards, which just goes to show me that they're planning on using these boards in other designs, and they're just it's a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. But you can't get to that HDMI because the HDMI is it's physically buried underneath this thing here. So I could get a finger in there and kind of push on the piece from the inside. But the problem was that's not really doing you any good, because that won't put it in the position you need it to be in. So the whole block that holds the HDMI pin setup slid out of the metal container. And even if I push it in from the back, because the metal container's been deformed, it won't snap back into place anymore. And that's on a ribbon cable connected to that board. So basically it would come down to probably 2.5 hours worth of work just to get that thing stripped apart, to try and manually manipulate that thing back together, and it still wouldn't work, because once that metal's been bent like that, there's just no way that it's going to be secure again. Bummer. So yeah, one more reason why I will definitely pass on ACER equipment in the future. Another one is because they don't have grip release legs. So when you go to do adjustments, you got to do this. And when you do this, people don't do this. So it goes back into the bag and then these things get bent. ACER doesn't sell these things. The only way you can buy these things is to buy the entire lower receiver of the machine. So there's that. So yeah, needless to say, if you ever get the chance to buy one of these specifically, but I think pretty much any ACER product that's designed this way, I would pass on it. The video quality was decent, but the build is absolutely wretched. Oh, and another thing that I thought was interesting, this was white when I got it, and then after about 3 days, the black color of the casing, the bag, just started getting integrated right in the plastic itself. I thought that was kind of interesting, because you wouldn't think that this plastic would absorb anything. The smooth silvery part didn't, That still looks okay. But the matte finish part absorbs pretty much anything it comes in contact with. That's a little terrifying.